All right, everybody, welcome to Legal Briefs. These are pod shorts that we do with Hendry and Parker Law Firm, based out of Pinellas County, Florida, but we also practice in Hillsborough County and Pasco County, Florida as well. Offices in Dunedin and Newport Richey. First of all, before we do our short today, we would like to thank the Perry Law Office located in Clearwater, Florida, for allowing us to use some of their offices and their equipment to do this stuff. We appreciate it. They do elder law, trust, and estate law. So if you'd like to do some planning like that, you should give them a call. That's perrylawfirm.com.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. And today we're going to talk a little bit about something called PTI.
Pretrial intervention.
Now, what is PTI?
Pretrial intervention is an opportunity for someone who has been arrested to get the case dismissed without the risk of going to trial.
So this is kind of like my mulligan?
Kind of like your mulligan. It is, and it's available in a lot of situations. Most all misdemeanors are eligible for PTI and any third-degree felony.
And if you're not a golfer, and you're probably wondering, then what's a mulligan? But this is kind of like your second chance. All right, so the criminal law system, as harsh as it can be in our country, a lot of jurisdictions, including the one here in Pinellas, offers a PTI program. And this is what, well, like Don said, allows you to get the case potentially dropped. In some cases, you go through and you get sentenced and then you go to probation. The idea with PTI is you kind of start off with probation, and then if you can complete it, then the state will actually drop the case if they're happy with your performance.
They will. And one of the prerequisites of PTI is getting the approval of the state attorney's office. Normally, if your situation falls within the statutory guidelines, meaning that it's a third-degree felony or any misdemeanor, you should be eligible for PTI.
Okay, now what if I've got I go out with some friends. I'm trying to give an example here of somebody who might be eligible for a PTI. I'm 19 years old. I go to the mall with some friends, and one of my friends steals something. I'm with them, and we all get arrested for petty theft. This is going to ruin my record because, I'm trying to get into colleges, and if I try to get into colleges and they see that I'm essentially a thief, am I going to have a harder time? Now, is this somebody who might want to explore PTI?
Absolutely. Somebody who's charged with something as simple as a theft, although it's a relatively minor misdemeanor, it is a crime of dishonesty, and something like that is a very bad stain on your record if you're trying to get into college or get a job as a professional.
Now, what are some of the things that make you eligible for PTI? I mean, don't you have to kind of check the boxes, and how do you get into it? Do you just say, Judge, I declare PTI?
No, it's not quite that simple. You're eligible for PTI, as I said before, if the case is a misdemeanor or a third-degree felony, which is a felony punishable by not more than 5 years in prison. Certain offenses are excluded. Sex offenses, although most of them are a higher degree of felony, there are some third-degree felonies. Those would not be eligible. If you have only one prior misdemeanor, nonviolent misdemeanor, it would exclude a battery, something of that nature, you would be eligible for PTI. You would talk to your attorney. Your attorney would communicate with the state attorney's office either through a phone call or by a letter asking that the state attorney's office consider you for PTI. You fill out a relatively simple application listing all your name, your address, date of birth, as well as any prior criminal history. And at that point, the state attorney's office will review it, make a determination of whether or not you're eligible, and you should know something within the next 4 to 6 weeks after you put in your app.
So then you get into PTI, and once you get accepted, usually we'll sign a contract, and the state's basically saying, hey, if you are able to get through this program and you do the things that we ask you to do, which each one of them is different, but a lot of them have the same elements. So for instance, if I get into PTI, I'll sign a contract that says, okay, I'm going to report to my PTI officer once a month for the next 6 months. I'm going to do 20 hours of community service. I'm going to pay restitution. For instance, if something was stolen in our example earlier, they would pay for that stolen item. Make sure that that person is made whole that they stole from, or the victim in the case.
Right.
They would pay all the court costs and fees and everything associated with the case and make sure that everything's clean. And then once they do all that and they report for 6 months and they don't get into any more trouble, they may have a curfew even, And if they get in, if they're able to show that that they're a respectable, contributing member of society during that time period, the state will actually go in and drop the case, and then it will no longer be on your record as a conviction. Now, however, one of the things that people don't remember is just having an arrest can be on your record. So just having that arrest on there can be on your record. And we're going to have another legal brief coming up that's going to talk to you a little bit about expungement and sealing of your record, which is something that our firm does too. Now, we work hard to get people into PTI, and it's not just for like petty thefts and things like that. We actually have a client now that has an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Where he was alleged to, I think, have pulled a knife on his significant other.
Right. And this is a gentleman who has never been in trouble, has held down a job for 25 years, and the state attorney's office actually agreed that this was an isolated event. And actually, since it was only a third-degree felony and not a second or first, they allowed this gentleman to go to PTI. And what he found out during PTI, because during PTI he had to do a psychological evaluation and any recommended treatment that that evaluation would require. After doing that, he found out a lot of things about himself, that he needed help. He had some psychological problems, that he was manic, and he got himself some help. So this is a great example of how the PTI program can work and can actually help diagnose some problems that you have and put you back in the real world without going to jail or having this glitch on your record, and being able to move on with life and recognize that you made a mistake, take responsibility, fix it, and move on.
Right. And if by chance you're charged with a more serious felony, a second degree, or even a first degree, although the first degree would be a more difficult pull, if it's a second degree felony and it's not a violent felony, sometimes we can communicate with the state attorney's office, get them to reduce that charge to a third degree felony just for the purposes of getting you into PTI.
Now, if you get kicked out of PTI, because this is a pretrial intervention, it's kind of a diversion program. It diverts you out of the court system and back over to the state attorney's office. So the courts are no longer, even though they have jurisdiction over the case, they're putting it on the side burner. So they're not dealing with it. They might set some status checks to make sure that everything's going well. But if you fail, say you don't report or you miss curfew, it's going to go back into the court system.
Right.
And once it goes back into the court system, the judges, they may not be so happy with you, considering the fact that they gave you a second chance and you screwed it up. However, if it's a minor screw up, sometimes you can actually get back into the PTI program.
Yeah, but it's as a rule, don't screw up. Do well, stay in PTI, and get your record get your record clean. And at that point, if you need some help actually getting rid of any evidence of that arrest, even though the case was dismissed, come to us and we can talk to you about sealing and expunging. And
it should be mentioned that in Pinellas County, you cannot get into PTI on a DUI.
No, there are some counties that have changed that to where they have intervention programs where you can get your DUI dismissed. Pinellas does not have it yet. I believe Hillsborough County does. Palm Beach County does. I think Dade and Miami as well, and probably some other places.
And hopefully, in the near future in this county, we can get PTI programs for DUIs. But right now, that's one of the charges where you cannot get into PTI. But all other misdemeanors, as far as I know, you can possibly get into the PTI program, but you can't have a long record. It's one bite at the apple. It's your one mulligan, so you can't screw it up. So, we do have second chances in our system, believe it or not. Not always, but for first-time offenders, we do. But that's all we have on PTI, pretrial intervention. If you would like to contact us and talk to us about your case, we would love to do a free case evaluation for you. You can get in touch with us at 727-205-5555. You can check us on our website at hendryparker.com. That's HENDRYPARKER.com. That's all we have. Thanks again to the Perry Law Firm for helping us out, and thanks for calling Parker for producing our show here.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.